All right, guys, we're going to go through 3.2 here. This is about career paths. It is about career paths in education in general. And then you're also then going to focus on you and what you want. So the trick, though, is making sure that you hit all points of this and you don't just jump into what you want to do, okay? So the prompt is identify the scope of career opportunities and their requirements for education, training, certification, licensure, and experience. So that's kind of a thick prompt. So what we're going to do is break it down into pieces. Um, for your evidence, you need some kind of documentation showing what the career opportunities are and the requirements for each. So this is the trick here because you're going to need to make sure you hit this idea of the various career opportunities and the requirements for each one. It's tempting to just jump into what you want to do, and that's great for part of it, but that's not all of it. So what you're going to do is look at career opportunities in education and also the ones that you're interested in, and then also what your plan is, okay? This is a link to the rubric. I think it can be helpful to look at that for this. Okay, so you're gonna first, I have it broken down into steps. Make sure that as you guys are going through all this, you're collecting your citation information, even if it's just, um, you know, like a document where you have all your websites linked or whatever. Make sure you're keeping track of that stuff. All right, so the first thing you're gonna do is think about all the different career opportunities in education. Okay, so teaching is one of them, but we have things, and I've given you some hints here, like special ed teacher, curriculum specialist, you have counselors, ESL, you have occupational therapists, you have Title I teachers, we have all different kinds of stuff. Then what you're going to do is based off of one of the ones up here in step one, you're going to kind of blow that one up a little bit, pick one that you think is interesting. So we're not talking about what you want to teach yet. Pay attention. This is just like your interest. For instance, you might be interested in teaching and then maybe going on to be a principal or a superintendent or something like that. Or maybe, you want to teach and then or become a school counselor. Almost all of our counselors were at one point classroom teachers, and same with administration. So those things kind of piggyback on each other. So what you'll do within that is you'll give a couple different opportunities, positions within that field. And then I gave you an example here. Okay, so then the other part, now we're getting into what you want to do. So what's your ultimate career goal? It could be that you want to like start as a teacher, then become a counselor, and then, maybe go on to be a professor. I know some of you are interested in that. But your ultimate career goal, okay? Then within that, what's your focus going to be? So for instance, for teaching, you're going to have, let's say you want to do math, science. Let's say you want to do elementary special ed and speech therapist. So we have these are different things. Here, those of you that want to do an ESL endorsement or a reading specialist, whatever. So if you have more than one career goal, you're welcome to include it. Now, you guys, obviously, you might change your mind, and that's okay. You're just sort of going with what you're thinking right now. Okay, and then the last step is you are mapping out this career, this like pathway. So as far as college goes, I know the majority of you have not picked like what college for sure you want to go to. And some of you might not have even picked what subject or what grade level. Just kind of guess at this point. So you can always remember, come back to this and make it more specific. You're just going to get out what you can right now, and then you can always come back and tweak this, all right? And yes, you might change your mind. If you write your whole thing about UC and then at the very last minute you decide to go to Bowling Green, you can either come back in and change it or you can just leave it at UC. Your graders are not gonna care, and they're also not gonna know exactly like what your plan is, right? So just keep that in mind. So what you're going to do is you're going to write your college, map that out, the different programs you're going to need. So for instance, if you're going to be a middle school um, teacher, well, let's do like MI. Okay, let's say you want to be a fifth grade teacher. In any of your early ed requirements, which is pre-K through I think now six, you need to pick two subjects. So let's say you're going to do fifth grade and you're going to go into math and social studies. So you will all pick, if you're going into early ed, I should say, you're going to pick two subject areas to be certified in. And so there are requirements for that, right? And so same with your licensure requirements. Special ed, I think, is K through 12. For those of you that want to go into music, I believe that's still K through 12. So different subjects have different requirements, and not all colleges offer the same things, especially in special ed. Those are different depending on the college. Um, if you come across information that's confusing or you're not sure what you can do, email not admissions, they don't know, email an advisor in that school. This is the chance for you to do some digging on where you want to go. So use this opportunity. I'm going to guess some of you are just now starting to look at the websites and going, oh, wait, I want to do special ed, and Miami has this program, but UC has this. And shoot, I don't know which one I want to do. I don't know if I can do both. Some of you might want to be majoring and minoring in things. I know a couple of you are thinking about like doing psychology too. This is where you're digging into these colleges that you're looking at and you're figuring out what you can do and what the requirements are. Okay. I also had a student, this was a few years ago, go into, I think she went to Ohio. No. She went to Miami and found out that all these AP courses that she took and all this credit were not accepted at Miami. They were not okay there, so they didn't count for hours. So she thought she was graduating a semester early and she wasn't. So this is the time to find those things out. Okay? All right, so what I also have in this folder, if you go into it, is this Career Paths Guide. I have just linked a bunch of resources in here for you, okay? This is your licensure information, so you definitely want to come in here. This is the State of Ohio website. You can look at, of course, now we have all the online stuff, but you can look at that because you're going to need to find out what you need to do to get your educator license. That's separate than your degree. You guys will be getting a license with your degree, but there are different qualifications that you have to meet. So you want to know what those are. So anyway, I just put a bunch of links in here. I put links to different schools: Miami, OU, UC, Ohio State, BG. So these are just some of the ones that you guys tend to go to. Okay. So what we'll do, let me just take you through this really fast. So this is a portfolio, and this kiddo is at UC. So we're on 3-2. So look through these. This is the School of Education. So what she's done, she's rating what she's majoring in, early ed. She has the program in here. She has the admission requirements. One of the things in every college you go to, once you're in that school as a sophomore, you're going to apply to cohorts. So some of you have no idea what that means. So you're going to go through these websites for these different schools and read about it and learn. Okay. Um, so she has put in here the classes she will need to take. Now, guys, this is her education classes. As you can see, this does not like mean your geology class or whatever. These are not your general ed courses. These are your education courses. She has spring classes, fall, etc. So she has all that laid out, okay? So that's what you want to do. So there's UC. So here's another one. Olivia, I think, is at Miami. So she's interested. Here are her interests. Here we go, Miami. She has the information. All of this is on their websites. You just have to find it, okay? you can look at some of this information too. This is about a teaching license. So she has the information here about what you'll need to do for your teaching license. So all that's in here. Now she also has her work cited separately, so you won't see all that. So this is part. Now remember, this is not her whole 3-2. Okay, this is part of it. Whoops, I clicked on it again. So if you don't want to go through one of those portfolios, the other thing, just if you look up here, what you pretty much need to do is just type in the school name and then plus education. And it's going to bring you every school has your College of Education website, and all the information is in here. Okay, so this is your School of Education. Oh, I was already on that page. We have little videos, we have undergrad, grad, all your certifications, endorsements. So you need to visit these pages for whatever university you're going into. Those of you looking at like deaf studies, right? So you have a lot of different stuff here that you can do. If you want to do a gifted education endorsement, that's something different that you can do. Um, so these are all things to be looking at, and this is your chance to do it. Okay? So it's pretty fun. It's pretty exciting. It kind of feels like, like the real part of getting into college and really mapping out what your pathway is. And it really also helps you because you guys can look at what you're going to be doing first semester, second semester, etc. And that's just really helpful for you, especially if you're doing a UC or a Miami, and let's say you want to do a branch campus. There are other, there's sort of some ways to go about doing that and transferring things from one campus to the other. Miami also has their Hamilton campus, an early childhood cohort where you can actually attend it's pretty competitive to get in, but you can actually attend the branch campus for your whole degree, which is almost impossible. Actually, it is impossible at any other school. So that would be something to think about too. So make sure that you just cover step by step. Do not skip step 1, step 2, step 3, and just go straight to step 4. Now, maybe you want to start there, but don't ignore the other steps. These would all be built into your portfolios, okay? So like Katie's is really pretty impressive. If you come to her 3-2, which is what you're doing, she has actually, if you look, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So she's created a separate page for each step, which is really smart. So this is BG. So if you're interested in Bowling Green, she has a bunch of information in here for you. If you remember, all these links to examples, they're actually in the Google website folder right here. If you guys remind me, I can make a copy and put it in the portfolio folder. But these are all good ones to look at. Okay, Francesca is at Ohio State, so that's in there. I think JoJo, she's Miami. So anyway, this is how you're going to go about doing that. Okay, you guys, this turns out to be a really great portfolio piece. It always brings a little bit of stress as you're starting to go through really thinking about college and the classes and the licensure, and it might feel a little overwhelming, but I promise once you get it all together, you'll realize that this is incredibly helpful. And it will actually bring, I think, some peace of mind to this kind of journey that you're in, because once you can see, okay, this is what I need to do, you can set up a plan to get it done. And so it's pretty exciting. Okay, so this is your 3-2, and I think you're gonna like it.